Deep in the Mississippi woods on a moonless night, a man is tied to a chair. His face is already covered in blood. Someone stands over him, asking in a low voice, "Give me a name, or this gets worse." This looks like an FBI interrogation. But the man doing the threatening isn't an FBI agent. He's an active hitman for the Colombo crime family. Why would the FBI bring in a mob killer to torture a suspect? And what did the man tied to that chair actually do? Let's rewind a few months. It's 1966, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Meet Vernon Dahmer, a black businessman. He was one of the few successful black men in the area, and he ran the local NAACP chapter. He accepted poll tax payments from black residents right at his own store. Payment was required before they could register to vote. His motto, "If you don't vote, you don't count." That made him a target. The Klan's most violent local faction, the White Knights, started watching him. Eventually, the order came down. In Klan code, Project 4, murder. That same group, by the way, was also behind a civil rights disappearance case 2 years earlier. They were the most notorious Klan chapter in Mississippi. Before dawn on January 10th, Klansmen threw gasoline into Dahmer's house and set it on fire. Dahmer held them off with a shotgun from the doorway while his wife and children escaped out the back. But Dahmer himself died the next day in his wife's arms from burns and smoke inhalation. The president personally ordered the FBI to investigate. The Voting Rights Act had passed just months earlier, and a man killed for helping newly enfranchised black voters carried real political weight. 13 Klansmen were arrested. But the investigation hit a wall right there. The Klan operated under a strict code of silence. Some local deputies were card-carrying Klan members themselves, and all white juries were simply the norm. There was no hard evidence pointing to who really gave the order. That's when the FBI turned to a method they'd never used by the book. The man the FBI brought in, Gregory Scarpa, an active hitman for the Colombo crime family. His nickname was the Grim Reaper. He'd killed so many people, even he reportedly lost count. Turns out, he'd been a secret FBI informant for years, a deal he'd struck to dodge a bank robbery charge. For the FBI, Scarpa was the perfect card to play. As a mobster, the Klan had never seen his face, and more importantly, he could handle people in ways the Bureau never could within the law. An FBI agent drove Scarpa down to Mississippi personally. Their first target, Lawrence Bird, a local TV repair shop owner suspected of involvement. They walked in acting like customers, then asked Bird to help load the TV they'd bought. The moment Bird got in the car, they drove him straight to a remote spot. Just as planned. This is the scene we opened with. Scarpa held a gun on Bird and beat him for hours. Bird finally broke. He wrote out a 22-page confession by hand. One name was in it, Cecil Sessom. Inside the White Knights, he held the rank of Exalted Cyclops. The FBI grabbed Sessom next. Same method. They beat him, forced him to kneel on Dahmer's grave, and put a gun in his mouth. Then they asked, "Tell us what happened that night." Sessom broke too. How the Klansmen filled the gas cans, who drove, who lit the fire. He confessed to all of it. With both confessions in hand, the case moved into an entirely new phase. In 1968, most of the 13 men arrested went to trial. The outcome was disappointing. Only 4 out of the 13 were convicted. One got a lighter sentence for confessing None of them served more than 4 years, and the man who actually gave the order, the White Knight's imperial wizard, Sam Bowers. He went to trial 4 times. 4 times the jury couldn't reach a verdict. Every jury was all white. Some jurors who did vote to convict reportedly had to move away afterward, fearing retaliation from the community. Bowers evaded justice for 32 years. But in 1998, new evidence and new witnesses surfaced. The case was retried, and this time the jury looked different. 6 white jurors, 5 black, 1 Asian American. It took them just 2 hours to reach a verdict. Guilty. 73-year-old Bowers was sentenced to life in prison. He died behind bars in 2006. Outside the courthouse, Dahmer's widow Ellie said, "The tears I'm shedding for Vernon." But here's the real twist. Whatever happened to Scarpa, the man who cracked the case wide open? The FBI kept using him as an informant for more than 30 years, and during all that time, Scarpa kept killing people, right in the middle of the Colombo family's own bloody internal war. It later came out that his own FBI handler had been secretly feeding him investigative intelligence. Scarpa used it to track down rivals before they could get to him first. That handler was later accused of being not a handler, but a murder partner. Even inside the FBI, nobody could say for certain how many people he'd killed. Scarpa eventually pled guilty to murder and drug trafficking charges. He died in prison in 1994, still serving his sentence. The killer they brought in for justice spent the next 30 years killing more people, protected the whole time. The FBI teamed up with an active hitman to take down the Klan. Is that story fact or fiction? To this day, the FBI has never officially acknowledged putting Scarpa on this case. But one thing is certain, justice was served, and it's also true that they shook hands with a devil to get there. The Klan went down. But who paid the price for that handshake over the next 30 years? If the ends are just, does the means stop mattering? Fact or fiction?